What's up, fellow hunters? Nox here. Welcome or welcome back. Today we're going to talk Sword and Shield. One important thing before we jump in. Don't get discouraged by my talismans if you don't have a similar one. I'll show some easy to get talismans for each build that you can use to get all the essential skills. With that said, here are 7 builds for you guys and some tips on how to adjust them for yourself. Let's go. As usual, we're going to start off with one of my favorites, the Lockdown. We're using kind of a hidden gem here, a paralysis version of the Rampage SNS. Again, don't get discouraged by my talisman. You can get all of the essential skills for this build by using a talisman that only has 2 level 2 slots. We customize our Rampage slots with attack boost level 4, paralysis 2, and affinity surge. This gives us 200 attack, blue sharpness, and 20% affinity. We get a huge flat damage boost from attack boost level 7, and very high crit chance on weak spots thanks to our affinity skills. On top of using a paralysis weapon, we also have 2 levels of Slugger for easy KOs, and 3 levels of Stamina Thief, which has crazy synergy altogether. This build will lock down a monster one way or another. This might not be the highest damage output, but it becomes an absolute beast in multiplayer, creating tons of openings for everyone to get in some free hits. Of course, we also have 1 level of flinch free, so we don't get tripped by our teammates. Thanks to shield moves not consuming any sharpness, just having a decent amount of blue can go a long way. And with speed sharpening level 3, maintaining it becomes no issue at all. As an extra bonus, we can make the Rampage weapons look like whatever design we want. Vindicator. A super comfortable counter-focused build using the high ninja sword. 200 attack, blue sharpness due to handicraft, ridiculous 100% affinity, 3 level 1 slots, and very important, Silkbind boost as Rampage skill. Grab some Dango, cause there's quite a few things to address here that you don't want to miss. We'll start with the more technical stuff. Wirebug Whisperer and Offensive Guard. A skill combo that allows us to really punish monsters with the Shoryugeki. We get 30% faster cooldown on it, which is massive. And if we time it correctly, Offensive Guard will increase our damage by 5% for each level for a short period of time, which is a huge bonus given how frequently we are able to use it with this build. And Shoryugeki is a Silkbind move, meaning it always gets a damage boost from the Rampage skill. And you may have noticed the Bombardier skill. Countering the blast of a bomb lets us manually trigger the Shoryugeki counter hit, which means we can pull off a super boosted Shoryugeki at will and cause free increased bomb damage at the same time. Careful with this in multiplayer though, since you don't want to blast away your teammates. And of course we get a nice flat damage increase from attack boost level 7 and crit boost. Along with all that, we get some additional skills that make this super comfortable to use. A talisman with Wirebug Whisperer level 2 and a level 2 slot is all you need to get the essential skills. That's quite common and not hard to get at all. Next is one a lot of you might have seen coming, Night Fury. An all-out raw damage build using the Nargacuga SNS and the full Valstrax set. Our weapon has 188 attack due to the Rampage boost, natural white sharpness, 30% affinity, and a level 2 slot. With the skills on the full Valstrax set, we have very high damage potential here. But we have to keep in mind that using this effectively will require us to be at 80% health or less, which in turn can make this a bit situational and not always the most consistent choice. We also have level 4 attack boost and level 2 offensive guard for even more raw power, along with our base critical skills and full speed sharpening for added comfort. But feel free to swap in any other level 1 skill deco if you prefer. My talisman really takes advantage of this set, but you can use any that has 1 level of attack boost and 2 level 2 slots. And if you don't mind losing offensive guard, any talisman you want will work fine as long as it has 1 level 2 slot. Next up, the Papercut. A strong general use build with the Nargacuga SNS, this time with some extra utility and flexibility. We have a nice 90% affinity on weak spots, attack boost level 7, offensive guard for some juicy damage increase whenever we counter or block at the right time, and level 2 slugger for much quicker KOs. We also have Stamina Thief and Bombardier in here, which we can swap out for any other level 1 comfort skill if we want. All in all, a very consistent build with a high level of comfort that's super easy to customize. 2 level 2 slots on the talisman will get you all the essential skills with only dropping 1 level of offensive guard. There's a lot you can do with this. Toxic Strike. We're using the Rathian SNS. 226 attack due to Rampage boost, decent blue sharpness, 28 poison, and 10% affinity. Some of the best overall balance in this weapon category. We again have full attack boost level 7, a big stack of our base critical skills, and full speed sharpening for some added comfort. In addition to that, we can add some extra poison on top. This build works great on anything, and if you happen to fight something weak to poison, like Kushala for example, that monster is in for a especially bad day. We also have another weapon option for this build, the Zinogre SNS. We can change some of the decos and go for Thunder Boost level 5, and if we craft this weapon from the start, we can even get Silkbind boost on it. For the Talisman, you can again use any that has 2 level 2 slots. The only thing you'll be missing is the extra level of offensive guard. The Claw of Ruin, big damage potential here. We're using the Tigrex SNS. 228 attack due to Rampage boost, natural white sharpness, and minus 15% affinity. For anyone worried about the negative affinity, I highly recommend bringing a Fighter Palico. They can give us a huge extra 30% affinity for free when they use the Rousing Roar ability. This is raw power and lots of it. We crank up the affinity as high as possible to offset the negative on the weapon, and then go for our base damage increasing skills. What's cool here is that I get 2 levels of Slugger and Stamina Thief. If the monster gets KO'd or tired, it will really take a beating with this. We also get full speed sharpening and a free level of evasion, which makes this really comfortable. And we have another weapon option for this one, the Chef's Knife. Similar to Tigrex, this has really high raw with some negative affinity. It doesn't have wide sharpness, but we get some ice attack and a free level 2 slot. 2 level 2 slots on the Talisman is all you need for the essentials. But one that has Slugger on it will definitely yield some extra advantages, and they're not rare. Dragon Rage. We're using the Valstrax SNS. 188 attack due to Rampage boost, huge natural wide sharpness, 34 dragon, and a level 2 slot. You can tell when looking at the skills, this build is absolutely stacked. Maxed out attack boost, max dragon attack, and all our base critical skills maxed out as well. We have super high affinity on weak spots, and we even get a free level of critical element from our chest piece. This is one of the few builds where using Drill Slash, if you want, can actually yield very good results. This will devastate any monster weak to dragon. My Talisman allows me to crank things up a bit, but you can use any Talisman that has 1 level of attack boost and 2 level 2 slots. That will get you all the essentials. There's a playlist with tons of builds in the top right if you want to check out some more. I also plan on getting more active on Twitter now, so feel free to follow me there if you like. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you guys in the next one.